Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? Welcome to the Snowflake Viewpoint episode 88, where we cover some of the latest news that's been going on in the UK. The date and time of this live stream is the 26th of January 2025 at 8 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite. Don't forget to hit that like button and share across social media and subscribe. And also on twitch.tv. And for those watching on Twitch, don't forget to hit that follow button and turn your notifications on so you'll be notified whenever I go live on Twitch. So did everyone have a good weekend? I hope they did. The chaos will always continue with everything that's going on in the world. I will cover this. There is one story I want to cover before we get into the meat grinder, but just before I do, something that I haven't done for a long time here on this channel. See, for those who follow me across my social medias, they'll know that every morning I post my daily quotas. I was going to get into that. I need to get into the habit of doing it here for you guys. So this I'll just show you guys quickly, just briefly, anyone's interested. So this here, I know you can't see it because of the light. You can just about see it. So every day I have a daily quota for 366 days. Today's one is courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice. And at the end of the day saying, I will try again tomorrow. That's today's quote for the 27th of January. That quote was by Mary Ann Radmacher, apparently there. Leafskin, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. And good morning, Steve McMorran, all the way over in New Zealand. Hope you're doing well, buddy. And anybody else who may be lurking in the chats as well. I also like to welcome our newest member of the gang that has joined us behind us, guys. And we have a new member. His name is Blaze, and here he is. Blaze Blaze joined the gang officially yesterday, and has barged himself into the front, and he has demanded that I add an emoji to him as soon as possible. I have said to Blaze that we will compromise with that. Pingu is really not happy with this, that his position has been pushed out by Blaze there. So clearly there has been conflict going on between those two off camera, but they have compromised today, guys. So yes, and we will see the gang a bit later on. But yes, I will work on a emoji for Blaze just for you guys members, because at some point there. And yes, I do know what he is, in case anyone's asking, but that is his official name here, for anyone asking. Stephen Banker, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. And Badmonk33, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well as well. Right, so just before we get started on the normal topics, just want to point out a story that I will cover tomorrow on the Snowflake Corner, and that is the that Palestinians are able to return to northern Gaza. That came out today in reports. So it looks like it's a very good. It sounds good on paper. You think it'd be great, but I just think something's fishy about it all. Something's fishy about it all. I'm happy for the people in Palestine that are able to return to their homes, but I just feel like there's things going on behind the scenes that we don't really know about on there. But we'll discuss that tomorrow on the Snowflake Corner, that is for sure. Jao is also here. Good to see you, Jao. Hope you're doing well, buddy, as well. So why is this? Hold on. There we go. Right. So the first story I've got for you guys is from The Guardian. It's one that popped up yesterday. Very interesting one, to say the least here. So the headline is Donald Trump and Sir Keir Starmer agreed to meet soon in a 45-minute phone call. So a conversation on Sunday where the two leaders first called since the inauguration of the new US president. So they finally had their phone call, Donald Trump and Keir Starmer, since Donald Trump became president. And from basically, I mean, we'll read into it here in a moment, but basically the feedback was Trump seemed pretty calm about things. I'm generally curious. I really would like to know what Keir Starmer said in that call, because clearly he gave I wouldn't say he gave concessions, but he clearly was he didn't antagonize Trump in the phone call. I also know that Keir Starmer didn't ask about tariffs as well, which was also, I think, was a very good thing as well. And it sounds like in a stark contrast to the conversation that was between Donald Trump and Denmark, because we heard that story did not go down very, very well. In fact, that went quite poorly for Denmark, if you think about it, on that one. But considering all the noise that's been going on around Labour and Keir Starmer, the fact that Trump had a decent call with Keir Starmer and actually said some nice things about him, the first thing that came to my mind is, what's he up to there? Like, what was he up to there? So, very interesting thoughts for sure. Number 3, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. And Peeper T on Twitch there. Hello there. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. So, let's have a bit of a reader into this guy. So, President Donald Trump and the Prime Minister Keir Starmer have spoken over the phone and agreed to meet soon. There has been talks there might be a state visit. But I know Keir Starmer wants to come to the White House as well. So, have a proper meeting as well at some point as well. Two leaders spoke for 45 minutes on Sunday in their first call since Trump's inauguration, according to Downing Street's readout of the call. They discussed trade and the economy and the security in the Middle East. Trump began by saying his condolences to the Prime Minister after the death of his brother Nick, who had cancer and had died on Boxing Day. Starmer thanked Trump for his kind words and congratulated him on his inauguration, Downing Street had said. The President paid tribute to President Trump's role in securing the landmark ceasefire and the hostage deal in Gaza. The President welcomed the release of Emery Demery and sent his best wishes to her family. They discussed the importance of working together for security in the Middle East. So it all seems very, very, very nice. And I'm just like, what's going on here? Something's amiss here. It just feels like something is amiss here. Good to see you, Dave McGuinness. I hope you're doing well, guys. Make sure you check out the Two Davies YouTube channel, where they do. Dave McGuinness covers paper reviews every morning, Monday to Friday at 10:30 a.m. Don't miss that. And they also do a show, the Two Davies, every Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. As well, UK time. Do check that out, guys. So someone put a link for his channel in the description. Ben Shaw, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well as well. Hopefully I haven't caught anyone, missed out on anyone there. The two leaders stressed the importance of the close and warm ties between the UK and the US, and the President spoke of his respect and affiliation for the royal family. They agreed to meet soon and look forward to further discussions there. We know Donald Trump really is fascinated by the royal family. During the call, Starmer set out the steps his government is taking to slash regulation to allow more building infrastructure development in the UK, such as his planning reforms and overhauling the judicial review system. It comes after Trump saying earlier in the day that he and Starmer had a very good relationship. Speaking to reporters on board Air Force One, Trump said he and Starmer get along well despite their divergent political views. He's liberal, which is a bit different from me, but I think he's a very good person and I think he's done a very good job thus far, Trump told the BBC. He represents his country in terms of philosophy. I may not agree with his philosophy, but I have a very good relationship with him. Keir Starmer, I really want to know, I really would love to have seen the full transcript of the phone conversation between them. Like, he really must have been very good there, in it. It's also nice, yeah, you know, also as well, the loss of Keir Starmer's brother, and to get condolences from the president. Like, it's a nice little thing as well. That as well, even though it may not seem like a big deal, is still a good thing nonetheless. The US president was asked about his relationship with the British Prime Minister after responding to a question about the location of his first international visit, which he said could be Saudi Arabia, could be the UK. Traditionally, it could be the UK. He said the last time he travelled to Saudi Arabia, it was because the kingdom had agreed to buy billions of dollars worth of US merchandise. If that offer were right, I'd do that again, he said. Trump and his wife Melania made a state visit to the UK in 2019 and were hosted by the late Queen. Ministers are open to extending another invitation to Trump, who is a fan of the royal family. He spoke warmly of Prince William after meeting him at the reopening of the Norn Dame last month. David Lammy, the Foreign Secretary, suggested earlier this month that Starmer would visit Washington within weeks for talks with Trump. The pair spoke by phone after Trump's re-election in November. Downing Street said at the time that they agreed the relationship between the UK and the US was incredibly strong and would continue to thrive. Several diplomatic challenges for the UK-US relationship are looming, however, including Trump's pledges to introduce trade tariffs and slash support for Ukraine. It is also unclear whether Trump will approve the UK's proposed deal to seize sovereignty over the Child Coast Islands, where there is a joint US-UK military base. Jim Maduris, efforts to finalise the deal before Trump's inauguration were halted to give the incoming president time to examine it. And I think that was a very good idea, actually. We still don't know exactly what's going to happen with that on that part. But let's also remember that the island that it's on, Diego Garcia, will not be given back to the Maduros, and they will have the base for at least 100 years if the deal goes through. I know it's unlikely, but it's still 100 years, you know. Meanwhile, questions have been raised over whether Trump will accept the nomination of Peter Mandelson, Labour peer and architect of New Labour, as the British ambassador to Washington. I wonder if that was brought up at all in the call. There has also been concerns within government about the attacks on Starmer by tech billionaire Elon Musk on his social media platform X. Musk, who called the Prime Minister to be ousted, is a key ally and a donor to Trump, has been chosen to run the newly formed US Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Morgan McSweeney, Starmer's chief of staff, and Jonathan Powell, his national security advisor, travelled to the US in December for talks with Trump's White House team. Trump's comments come as a major poll suggested that voters favour the UK moving closer to Europe on trade rather than Washington. Starmer has argued that the UK does not have to choose between the US and Europe, and that it is in the national interest to work with both. Yeah, and that's the correct way to put it. In a speech last month, the Prime Minister said the UK would never turn away from his relationship with the US, despite the difficulties the new administration could pose, as it had been the cornerstone of security and prosperity for over a century. He's playing it very carefully. Like, don't antagonize him, but also at the same time, like, hold your ground on things as well. I'm generally curious to know how the conversation went, because the reaction from Trump after shows that conversation went really, really well. It showed that it really went really, really well. So I think that Trump, that Keir Starmer has made it very clear that there's not going to be like a pushing away from the US or any sorts. He's made it very clear that they still want to have a great relationship and whatnot, and not really change things too much. Donald Trump's obviously infatuation with the royal family and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of helped. And you know, Donald Trump likes to blabber, go on and on conversations. So I could just imagine Keir Starmer kind of just like sitting there on the phone, just kind of like just listening in until he finally stops talking, if you know what I mean. Because Trump tends to just chat away, you know, on things, you know. Like, I can imagine that the royal family stuff, he must have gone on for about a good 10 minutes before changing the subject, you know, on that. But I will put it this way. Look, I know what we think about Trump, but the fact that it went off well is a good thing. It's good. It's a good sign. It may all backfire on the UK and they end up getting tariffs on us, but it's a good sign. So, you know, let's take the crumbs of positive whenever we possibly can, guys. Joe Lefty, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. If an American has 5 cakes, he will keep a cake. Give a cake to an American and the other 3 cakes to Americans. And if there is any cake, he will give it to more Americans or keep for himself. If I have 5 cakes, I will have the 5 cakes to myself for me, Joe. Because, depending on what kind of cake it is and who it's going and what kind of cake it is as well. I do like my cakes. The King's Ride, Steve McMahon, or the Prince Andrew touch and feel petting circus, says Jow. There are more chiefs than playing folks here, says number 3. Trump wants to turn Buckingham Palace into a hotel. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, he would like to do he'd like to do that, wouldn't he? So, for sure. Blaze looks like a disruptor. Yeah, Blaze is a disruptor. For those coming in, yeah, we do have a new member of the family there. Blaze is a disruptor. He is indeed. Don't worry, I will get an emoji for him. It's on my plans for tomorrow, guys. Simon says 55. Good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, what do you guys think of that? Do you think it's good? Think it's bad? Let me know your thoughts, guys, on that. We'll come back to your comments on it. The next story is a very interesting one, guys. One that's not really talked about a lot. So this is from the BBC. So the outgoing Muslim Council leader has criticised the lack of government contact. So when Zahra Mohammed became the first female leader of one of the largest representatives of bodies for British Muslims in 2021, she already had a lot on her plate. Rising Islamophobia, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the government refusing to engage with the group. So let's read a bit into this before I give some more to this. So then the 29-year-old could not have imagined 3 years later that she would be facing one of the biggest challenges of her career, riots across England and Northern Ireland, often explicitly targeting Muslims, and still no government contact. The violent unrest triggered by false rumours that the Southport knife attack was a Muslim asylum seeker saw bricks held at mosques and Islamophobic chants on the streets. Many Muslims and people of colour felt afraid to leave their homes. It was so visceral, we were watching on our screens people breaking doors down, stopping cars, attacking taxi drivers, smashing windows and smashing mosques, she told the BBC. The kind of evil we saw was terrifying and felt like, am I even making a difference? As Ms Mohammed ends her time as General Secretary of the Muslim Council of Britain on Saturday, Wadi Akir was elected as her replacement. She spoke to the BBC about the difficulties that she has faced. She described an unbelievable tidal wave of Islamophobia in the UK, which she said was made more difficult to tackle due to the ongoing policy of the government's non-engagement. It was the Southport riots for us that made us feel quite alarming. The justification was there, the urgency, the necessary of engagement was there. British Muslims were under attack, mosques were under attack, the largest umbrella Muslim organisation wasn't being talked to, she said. Strains in the relationship between successive governments and the MCB began over a decade ago. Ties were severed with the MCB in 2009 under the then Prime Minister Gordon Brown, after the group's deputy leader signed a declaration advocating attacks on the Royal Navy if it tried to stop arms for Hamas. Hamas military wing has been proscribed as a terror group in the UK 8 years earlier. The Deputy Secretary later resigned, and Ms Mohammed said the MCB made clear such actions did not reflect the organisation, leading to a brief period of re-engagement. However, under Conservative governments, that engagement was broken again. In 2018, when asked about Islamophobia in the Conservative Party, the then Home Secretary Sajid Javid said the government did not engage with MSB as too many of their members have favourable comments on extremists and that is not acceptable. Claims that the MCB vehemently deny at the time. For Ms Mohammed, there were hopes that engagement would be renewed when Labour entered government last year, as she described as a strong and positive relationship with Labour MPs. However, the policy of non-engagement has continued without any explanation. She said this was having a terrible impact on communities who do not feel Islamophobia is being taken seriously. At least have a conversation about it. But to not say anything and not tell us why, surely what happened 14 years ago cannot be the justification. What's the issue now? We're not illegal, we're not prescribed, we do not harbour any extremist views. We have a broad-based demographic of British Muslims, she added. A spokesperson for the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government confirmed that there had been no change to the policy of non-engagement with MLB, but did not detail why. Why? Maybe it's because you guys are more favourable to Israel. Maybe it might be the money that's being poured in from them. What's that? Just seeing there. Hold on, I'll just see a comment. Okay. That's just saying else, just checking what the comments were. All forms of religious and racial hatred have absolutely no place in our society, a spokesperson said. The government engages regularly with faith communities to help foster strong working relationships, and we are exploring more integrated and cohesive approach to tackle racial and religious hatred, including Islamophobia. Then why are you not talking to this group? This is the largest British Muslim group in the UK, and you're not talking to them. Surely it makes logical sense to talk to them, to understand their genuine concerns and problems, right? So if you want to tackle racial and religious hatred, surely you want to talk to people who have suffered it the most. Am I the only one here that gets that? I mean, I'm not going crazy here. Various government departments engage with faith organisations to discuss relevant issues and policy, including on the COVID-19 pandemic and tackling hate crime. The rise in Islamophobia has personally affected Ms Mohammed, who faced frequent abuse online. She's also the victim of hate incited on the London Underground by a man who used offensive language. I've definitely got more of a fear of my personal security than I've ever had before, she said. There has been an onslaught of far-right, thuggish, anti-Islam, quite disgusting, really awful graphic content that posted on my account. Yes, people can do that behind a keyboard and get away with it, and the problem is, it's like, we know that kind of language and rhetoric is being used on X in particular, and how do they deal with that kind of language on there? Nothing. They don't do anything about it. Well, if they do, it's very, very little. People are concerned that that's going to. People are concerned that that's going to be the thing that's going to be on Meta as well. Hence, why many people have are looking to leave the platform for Meta as well. So. It does seem like Blue Sky is starting to become the place to be. National Monitoring Group Tell Mama UK has recorded 4,971 incidents of anti-Muslim hate in the year after the Hamas attack on Israel, the highest total in 14 years, with Muslim women particularly vulnerable. Challenged on whether the MCB had done enough to support communities, particularly without government engagement, Ms Mohammed said the organisation had done a lot of community building and political advocacy to address anti-Muslim hate, including interfaith projects, an Islamophobia event in Parliament, and a Visit My Mosque initiative. However, she said this has not changed mainstream narratives around British Muslims. There has been such a normalisation of Islamophobic rhetoric without it being challenged or condemned. Because they were making a difference, but then what is being seen on national discourse does not seem to translate, she added. Yeah, well, we know that the mainstream media don't care. Because it's good. I hate to say this, but the reality is that this kind of stuff is good viewerships, good ratings for these mainstream media platforms. I'm not saying it's right, but that's what they would rather post negative stuff than positive stuff. It's pretty despicable that they don't even acknowledge it. You know, I think GB News and Talk TV obviously the worst. Ms Mohammed recognises this as part of a broader trend of hostilities directed at Muslim politicians and leaders, drawing attention to former Conservative MP Lee Anderson saying Islamics had got control of the mayor of Caen. Sadiq Khan condemned the remarks and pouring fuel on the fire of anti-Muslim hatred. Yeah, it's exactly what he did. He knows he knows it was absolute BS. As more Muslim professionals and politicians reach new heights, like Hamza Yusuf became Scotland's first minister, and Sir Sadiq being knighted, they face disgusting levels of Islamophobia, while others have not ever faced, said Miss Mohammed. A BBC's Women's Hour interview with Miss Mohammed was also accused of being strikingly hostile, with more than 100 politicians, writers and other prominent figures criticising Miss Mohammed's mistreatment on the show. The BBC said it promised to reflect on the concerns raised following the interview. Oh, God. These ongoing challenges have left Miss Mohammed in two minds about her legacy. You're consistently firefighting. Did we make British Muslims' lives better? On one hand, yes, because we raised these issues. We took them to the national platform. But with Islamophobia, we're still having the same conversation. We still haven't been able to break through, whether it's government engagement, Islamophobia, social mobility, she added. My happier achievement is that I visited over 300 organisations across the country, she said. Whether it was Swansea, Newport, Liverpool, Leeds, Manchester, I really made sure that I went and I met the women's groups, and I always reassured them that they had the voice at the table and the leader. The Conservative Party did not respond to a request for comment. The Conservatives were not interested in this at all. Well, Zara, unfortunately, the mainstream media do not care. But I feel for her, and I feel for British Muslims in particular in this case, because we know that they are being one of the things I've said since obviously things got heated up ever since the October 7th attacking the Middle East. We knew that anti-Semitic rhetoric between for Palestinians, for Middle Easterns, for Israelis would ramp up. We knew that was going to happen, and you know, this group here should have been one of the contacts they should have gone to the government. The Conservative government should have gone to even more at the time, because of what happened in the past. I mean, people move on, people make mistakes. Like, you know, everyone remembers that the Liberal Democrats got in bed with the Conservatives. Well, you know, they've moved on from that, and we know they've moved on from that because people casted their votes for them, and they got over 70 MPs in at the last election. So, you know, people have forgotten about that. So I feel for her, and I feel for British Muslims, guys. And I just hope that Labour does take it seriously at some point and start listening to them and other people and other organisations, and not just saying we're dealing with the problems. Well, no, you're not actually talking to the people on the ground, which is the main thing. Let's see what you guys are saying. Ukraine, $3,000 for Swedish shell, $250 for Storm Shadow missile, $500 for Barkhane drone. Talking about the Ukraine war. China EVs are also killing Tesla sales in the US. Yes, that is true. Well, they're going away from that, so that makes sense. You guys are talking about something else. Headaches are an old friend. Oh, you got a headache, Simon. Sorry about that. Yeah, you'll know if I have a headache if I'm wearing my hat or not, to be fair on that one. Okay. Let's talk about Brexit, guys. Well, not exactly Brexit, but close to it, I suppose. This one is from the iPaper. So the UK could sign up to an EU trade scheme for a softer Brexit. So Brussels has indicated that the UK would be welcome to sign up to a Europe-wide trading scheme that simplifies tariffs. Will Rachel Reeves take this on board? I would not hold my breath on this, guys. Any kind of deals with the European Union, I would just say take a bit with a pinch of salt, because we know that any kind of deals that go off, we know that will trigger the right wing, and they'll just blow their gasket. You'll see him on the front page saying Labour government betrays Brexit or something along those lines, if they do any kind of sign up or deals whatsoever, just to try to undermine things. But yeah, I'm taking these things with a pinch of salt. But recently reports, things at the moment are not very good, as you know. And I'd really like us to get back into the European Union, but we know that that's not going to happen anytime soon, guys, unfortunately. As much as I want to, and I know as much as you guys want to, we have to be realistic about the situation that we are in. But considering that the forecast that the IMF is predicting is going to be 1.6% of GDP, we haven't had that kind of growth for a long time. If we do get that kind of growth, that's still a very good thing, all things considered, that our situation that we are in post Brexit as well. It is just it's not a fact, but I don't know about economics, but I do know is that if we get those kind of numbers, I suppose it's a good thing, considering where we've been for a long time, under the Conservatives as well. So the Chancellor says she's absolutely happy to consider joining a European customs group after Brussels indicated that the UK would be welcome to join. So speaking from Davos earlier this week, European Commission Vice President Marko Stekovic suggested that the UK could join the Pan-Euro-Mediterranean Convention, the PEM, a trade agreement that simplifies the rules of origin amongst its 25 members. However, he added that Britain would need to lead the way in joining the PEM, saying the ball is in the UK's court. Asked on Sky's Sunday Morning with Trevor Village programme whether she would be happy to take up the offer, Rachel Reeves said she was absolutely happy to look at taking part in the PEM. So that's not a yes, we will definitely take it on, do it. It is, we will look into it and get back to you. I can also see the right wing say they're going back into the EU. I haven't really heard that just yet. So we are absolutely happy to look at these proposals because we know the deal that the previous government secured is not working well enough, she said. It's not working well enough for small businesses trying to export. It is not working well enough for larger businesses either. We've grown up enough to admit that, whereas the previous government said there was no problems at all. She continued, if we want to grow our economy, we've got to boost trade, not just with the European countries, but around the world. Whether that is the US or fast-growing economics like China, India, and the Gulf countries, we want to do that because it's good for British business and therefore the jobs here in Britain. However, she cautioned that she was only happy to consider constructive ideas, the trade that were consistent with the red lines we set out in our manifesto. So yes, no going back into the EU, no going back into single market and customs union, but this could be a way just to get a little bit closer without going too far. So the PEM, which includes the EU itself, Switzerland, Norway, Monaco, Tunisia and Egypt among its members, allows materials originating in one member country to be treated as local when incorporated into goods in another member's country. So, for example, a product assembled in Morocco using components from Germany and Turkey could still qualify for potential treatment under EU trade agreements. It is a European Commission scheme and is designed to facilitate trade between the EU and other European nations and North Africa. Ministers are facing warnings that any attempt to move closer to the EU could scupper any hopes of securing a trade deal with the US, something Keir Starmer has said he wants to secure with the incoming Trump administration. They will say on paper we want a US trade deal, but in reality they're not going to push for it. Trump will want too many concessions, and it's just not going to be. It has to be They will want too many compromises. They'll want the NHS, basically, is what they'll want. And we cannot sell the NHS. That is the one thing they definitely want on that. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage, who was in Washington for Donald Trump's inauguration last week, told the iPaper that any attempts to align more closely with the EU as part of a reset with Brussels takes away flexibility from negotiating for a trade deal. We are not, like, I'm probably going to put this out there. We are the chances of us getting a trade deal with the US. I do not expect it at all. Jao, thank you for being a member. Still battling with Google for being a member for 9 months. Still battling with Google Pay, but trying. No worries, my friend. Thank you so much for continuing as a member. Really appreciate it. And for all your comments you give on so many of my videos, I appreciate your support. Thank you. If Starmer is going to reset with the EU and align to single market rules, it will make any deal more difficult, Farage warned. Ministers had indicated that the UK was not looking to take up Stekovich's offer, with Housing Minister Matthew Pennicott telling BBC Radio 4 Today programme on Thursday, "We're not seeking to participate in that particular arrangement." He continued, "I think in general the government has been very clear that we do want a closer relationship with European partners, both in trading terms, but also importantly in terms of security, defence and cooperation, where we need to work far more closely." Pennicott appeared to have left the door open to joining the scheme, however, added that the UK was not seeking to participate in it at the present time. This was echoed by the Cabinet Office Minister Nick Thomas-Symonds, who said on Thursday the UK was looking to develop relationships with its European neighbours and reduce trade barriers. But he insisted the government has no plans to join a European customs union, telling MPs who would not give a rolling commentary on discussions. He says, "We want to increase trade, increase exports around the world. It is hugely important. As the Prime Minister, we said we don't want to choose between allies. We look to deepening all our relationships." But he added that the government does not currently have any plans to join the PEM, and we are not going to provide a rolling commentary on every comment that is made. Frogface, yes. Farage, not Farag. Farage, far right rage. Frogman, just call him Frogman then. Complying with the TCA is a condition signed requirement for the PEM. Yeah, well, yeah, we still haven't done that. That's true. Yeah, that is true. These Labour top dogs don't really care about the country, and they can now ignore the Tory press. And number 3, I recommend checking out tomorrow. I've got a video dropping on some of the policies and things that Labour have done since January. Might be worth watching if you generally believe Labour have done nothing. They don't really care about the country. Probably worth giving your time for it. Softer Brexit, that means complying with the TCA by the what? Like garage, says Ben Shaw. Garage Farage. Very good. So the Pan-Euro Mediterranean conversation establishes common rules of origin for trade between EU and other countries. So despite the objection from Brexiteers, the government is correct when it says that the PEM is neither an EU scheme nor a customs union. It is, however, run by the European Commission, an executive branch of the EU. So it does, however, simplify the rules of origin for goods fully or partially made in countries that are signed up to the convention. In practice, that means that anything either manufactured or completed completed, you put my word teeth back in, as Daily Blase says, and as many goods are in a global supply chain, could be exported more easily to lots of countries, including the 27 EU member states. So the 25 contracting parties to the PM Convention are the EU, the European Free Trade Association states, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein, the Faroe Islands, the participants of the Barcelona process, Algeria, Egypt, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Morocco, Palestine, Syria, Tunisia and Turkey, the participants of the EU Stabilisation of an Association process, Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, the Republic of North Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia and Kosovo, the Republic of Moldova, Georgia and Ukraine. So just to add context there as well. But it's just talk right now, and I think Reeves is saying that they will look at it, but as other ministers have said, they're not going to jump straight into it, and I think it's the right not to jump into it either. Like, just keep things calm, not to stir a hornet's nest. And it is the thing, like, I know some people are saying even Phil Morehouse has said this, that they should be more open about it and stuff. And I'm like, I think Labour are pretty much are just being cautious about this, because the thing is, unless they're prepared to do something about the media here, do something about Leveson or media reform, they have to tiptoe around Brexit, because they'll just get hammered non-stop on it. That's the problem. They don't get hammered. They just get hammered non-stop. But either way, they're going to get hammered either way. To be fair, tariffs, says Stephen Warren. Yeah, tariffs, indeed. But yeah, let me know more what you guys think on that. Jal says complying with the TCA will reduce half the paperwork for the UK, and if the UK government diminishes their paperwork too, it would make it viable. Indeed. And number 3 says, I don't mean that. Yes, they have done some good things, but the draconian laws remain in place, as does the sewage and the stupid mental slavery. Follow the right ring. Yeah, I know what you mean. Number 3. I know what you mean. So guys, going to take a quick little break here. Got a couple more stories here on the Viewpoint. I hope you guys enjoy this funny one. This is a very good one here from one of. I do like Garen. I do like Garen, guys, and if you guys don't, we've played a few clips of Garen already, but he's absolutely brilliant. And I saw this one and I thought this was brilliant. Now there's a bit of a twist to it when you listen to it, but I hope you guys enjoy this. The link for it is in the description. Oh, play. Oh, what's happened? What's going on? Why is it not playing?
Would you fucking look at that?
No, don't play yet. Wait, let's try again.
Would you fucking look at that? Irish employees work harder than UK workers, new study claims. I have never been more disgusted with the Irish people. How are we allowing the UK to beat us at laziness? This nation used to pride itself on getting paid too much to do fuck all. Now look at us, being herded like sheep onto fucking Zoom so we can circle back on yesterday's meeting. Where's the rebellious spirit? Putting a poxy fucking desk in your bedroom so you can work from home. One of my friends got a standing desk because he didn't like how he felt sitting down all day. What the fuck do you mean? Will you sit down to fuck? I believe that the Irish people can return to the glory days of the 90s. 5-bedroom detached houses, 2 random statues of a lion outside. Without ever understanding our job or paying a cent of our mortgage. Follow me, I'm delicious.
Oh, Garen Music at YouTube, guys. If you want to find his stuff, it's on YouTube as well. It's absolutely brilliant. Oh, absolutely wonderful stuff there from Garen. Absolutely wonderful stuff. Don't worry, I got a nice one at the end. Not of him, but of another one as well, guys. Just a reminder before we carry on, guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated, and share this across social media so others are notified of this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. It really helps support the channel, guys. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Gets you access to custom emojis, access to members community posts, and whenever you comment on any of my videos, you always get a response. If you decide to go one step further to financially support me as a $1.99 member, you get early access to additional content, which you guys may have already seen available to you. So thank you to anyone and everyone who has been a YouTube member, who has been gifted a member, or has kept on their YouTube membership. It is greatly appreciated, guys. Thank you so much. Otherwise, you can financially support me by buying me a coffee. Link for that is in the description as well. And you can also join the Patreon and Rumble as well for exclusive content. There is lots of content on Rumble and Patreon this week, guys. A post will drop down tomorrow. We'll tell you what's dropping, what day of the week. So there's already content has dropped on Rumble and Patreon today. So do check them out. You do not have to pay to see some of the free content that is available on Patreon as well. So do check it out, guys, for them. The links for them are in the description. Right, plugin is over. Let's carry on, guys. I'm not sure what to make of this story, so I'm kind of a bit like split in two minds because of it. But hey ho, let's just hear it out. So this is from the Independent. So the WhatsApp groups spreads more false COVID claims than social media, says Kemi Badenoch. So things that really concern me are pieces of information that are less visible, the Tory leader had told the UK COVID-19 inquiry. WhatsApp groups spread more false COVID claims than social media. I don't know about you, but I'm struggling to believe that. I mean, maybe it's just me, guys. I have a very, very hard time believing that. It just, like... Okay, she is saying specifically COVID claims, because obviously it's at the UK COVID inquiry. The thing is that WhatsApp groups... I'm trying to kind of get into my head and trying to understand why she makes this claim. I really don't get it, guys. First and foremost, sorry, guys. Casper Northerner, thank you so much for being a member for 12 months. And good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. You've been a member for over a year. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And number 3 has gifted 5 memberships. Unfortunately, only 3 of them are processed. So some money will return to you. But thank you so much for the gifted memberships, number 3. I appreciate your support, my friend. Suzanne DW was gifted membership. Eddie Woolley and Unquiet Badger were all gifted memberships there. Thank you so much, number 3. I really appreciate your support. No worries, Ben. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for your support, number 3. Really appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, and if you haven't already, do check out number 3's YouTube channel. Someone could put a link for his channel. Be greatly appreciated. Check out his content there as well, guys. So let's have a read a bit more into this before I can get my head around this. So, family WhatsApp groups were more worrying than the spread of false claims about the pandemic than social media sites. Kemi Badenoch has told the UK COVID-19 inquiry. So Miss Badenoch, who served in several ministerial posts during the pandemic, was questioned about her role as an equalities minister as the inquiry examined the vaccine uptake among ethnic minorities. The former minister said she had been less worried about Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, and their influence on the spread of fake news than more private channels of communication. Well, there was some of it, wasn't it? But the thing is that, and I think this is quite true, you know, that kind of content on those platforms and even on YouTube, I think got shut down quite quickly, to be fair. I mean, I'm trying to think which social medias were really problematic. Like I just don't buy. Like, the thing is, the way WhatsApp works, it's not like social media. It's not like other social medias where you literally have to have someone's phone number to be in their WhatsApp group with them. So unless it has to start from somewhere else before you form that WhatsApp group. Excuse me. Apologies, guys. My stomach's playing up at the moment. Benjamin, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Did I miss discussion on Badenoch and Mad Peasant comments yet? We are discussing Kemi the Mad Badenoch, Benjamin. But good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. So you can't... WhatsApp groups, you can't, like... You can't just get random people in. It's not like Facebook, where you set up a group and... Yeah, it's not the same thing. So I honestly just don't buy. I've got to be honest. I don't buy this at all. I really don't buy this at all from Kemi at all. That WhatsApp groups were more of a concern than social media sites. I think social media sites were a bigger concern on this. The Conservative leader added that the things that really concern me are the pieces of information that are less visible. The last time I was here, I talked about WhatsApp groups, for example, founding WhatsApp groups, things that the government had no insight into. It's everything from vaccines will kill you to the government is suppressing information, she said. I just don't... Like, the thing is, we know that the government was using WhatsApp at the time and information was kept confident, was being held back as well. Benjamin said my aunt and female cousins do seem to have gone mad in COVID conspiracies. It's very odd. That is concerning. Yeah, because people buy into this premise is that it was all staged or something. You know, all this, you know, buying into this. It's very scary, very scary. Like, there's so much disinformation and misinformation out there. You just don't know what's truth and what's not. There. The Tory leader said likely repulsable sources, including representatives of the British Medical Association, had been used had been used to support false claims and misinformation. While she said she's not sure how to combat misinformation in private groups, she added, "The thing that government can do is best provide as much information as possible and show that we are all in it together." Ms. Bagonot took part in vaccine trials to show it. The minister herself was taking part in the trials, which are more risky than a fully tested vaccine might help with the public's trust. She continued, "I am also not attacking the people who are propagating this. So as annoyed as I was by the representative of the British Medical Association saying this, what I didn't do was go after that, because that can actually fuel the misinformation or the conspiracy." The Conservative leader elsewhere said a drive to boost the number of people from ethnic minority backgrounds receiving the vaccine had helped make a difference. I actually think her taking it, considering that she is a black woman, that definitely does help in terms of image, especially because we know at the time that many ethnic minority backgrounds were not taking there were not taking as much as the uptake as white people. I'm pretty sure those numbers were pretty much, but at least she took it as well. I will say that, even if she is a dummy. The odds of people from ethnic minority groups getting the COVID jab was lower among people from white backgrounds. Yeah, I just literally said that. Ministers took a step to include the spaces of worship as vaccine centres and a community drive on the BBC Asian network to increase uptake. Yeah. After this had improved the number in getting the jab, Ms. Bagonot replied, "I think it made a difference. It certainly created improvements. The biggest benefit, I think, was the awareness raising, which meant that other people started doing these things, that they weren't just relying on the government." The thing is that if you can get like community leaders on board, like not just like if you can get like the thing is at the time obviously it was very difficult to encourage some people to get the vaccine, but if you get celebrities, if you can get community leaders, if you can get good people, like never mind people in government, like forget politicians, right? If you got the good people in front of a camera and got them taking it and then telling them why they're taking it, you're very much more likely for people to go forward. Like if you got what they could have done in hindsight, if they could have gone trying to get a few black British stars to take the jab publicly, like on TV and whatnot, I think that might have helped to drive the campaign. See if they can get in contact with some black community leaders from certain areas up and down the UK. Could have got them on TV, getting them doing the jab, or you could do all of these into a promotional video, and then put it out there for people. And I think that would have helped boost. Might have helped boost the numbers as well. It's all about just painting that picture for people, of encouraging people that, hey, look, it's okay to take this vaccine. Like I'm taking it, I'm taking it because I trust the people who develop it. Like I took, I can't remember the two. I took two different ones actually. The two jabs I took. The first one I took was not AstraZeneca. It was the other one. Was it Pfizer? I think it was Pfizer I took. And then the second one wasn't Pfizer. It was something else. It wasn't AstraZeneca. It was something else. But I was okay after both of them. I think, after a while. But I took them because even though I didn't have to go and take the jab or whatever, I felt like it was right to do so, to protect people around me, because I cared about the people around me. Did I have some slight doubts about COVID? A little bit, but about the vaccine? A little bit, but not enough for me to say, like, I shouldn't take it, because, like, I was thinking more about people around me rather than myself. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking about the people that I know, the people that could be vulnerable if I didn't take it. That's what I was thinking more about, rather than being myself. I think it would be fair to say. It's the older generations that seem to be more attracted to these ideas. Yeah, it's unfortunately they get tied into, unfortunately, rather than listening to experts, they get tied into what news anchors and people online are saying about these things, and they just buy into it without doing any. The thing is, they listen to different groups of people when they don't actually listen to any experts on these issues. It's listening to the experts. It's about listening to the experts on these things. Living surrounded by Spain and the ocean makes you be pragmatic, says Jal. Flamingos and storms, sometimes both. Number 3 says, I may have well been too stoned the other night. I went out for a breather and saw some kind of light. Grid covering the sky. Weird. Oh, that's just UFOs, number 3. They pass here all the time. I just never talk about them. They always pass here all the time, number 3. So you ain't seeing anything new there. The next story I've got for you guys is an interesting one here from the Financial Times. Going a bit off course here with different articles. So the Financial Times here's got the UK is on course to miss the 2030 clean power target. I'm not surprised by this. So research by Cornwall Insights is a blow to the government, which has made decarbonising electricity a key goal. There's a number of factors into this. I think I just don't think the government is keen to stay on this target specifically, because their priority is to grow the economy. Their priority is to deal with people's situations right now, try and get more money in people's pockets, try and improve people's lives rather than climate. I think it's fair to say that while climate is an issue and moving towards green renewable energies is something that this government wants to do, their priority is looking to improve people's lives so they can win them back at the next general election. I think that's what they're looking to do. And I think that's their priority rather than climate. Is it right that they do that? No, it's not right. But can you understand why they're doing that? Yes. So Britain is on course to fall far short of its target for developing new solar and wind power, despite the government's efforts to lift barriers and boost the industry, according to a new analysis. So practical hurdles and uncertainty over market reforms mean that the UK is set to miss its clean energy targets by 32 gigawatts. Enough to power tens of millions of homes, said consultancy Cornwall Insight in a report. The findings are a blow to Keir Starmer's government, which has made decarbonising Britain's electricity system by 2030 a key goal. Tom Musker, modelling manager at Cornwall Insight, said the analysts underscored the urgent need to address both the operational and investment barriers slowly renewables growth. Timely investments in infrastructure, clarity on market reforms, and support for initiative projects delivery are vital to unlocking the UK's clean energy potential, he added. In order to meet its target of a clean energy system in 5 years, the government has said last year it wanted the UK by 2030 to have 43, that's 50 gigawatts of offshore wind, 29 to 27 gigawatts of onshore wind, and 45 to 47 gigawatts of solar power. At present, the UK has 14.7 gigawatts of offshore wind, 15.7 gigawatts of onshore wind, and 17.6 gigawatts of solar power, according to government and industry figures. Yeah, that's miles behind. Miles behind. However, Cornwall Insight forecast that there would only be 37 gigawatts of offshore wind, 17 gigawatts of onshore wind, and 29 gigawatts of solar by 2030, leave a combined shortfall of 32 gigawatts. Ministers have also taken steps to boost conditions for the industry, including lifting restrictions on onshore wind in England, awarding planning permission to new solar farms, and increasing the budget for subsidies for renewable energy. The National Energy System Operator has also acted to cut time it takes to connect Britain's massively oversubscribed electricity grid, including pausing new applications in order to tackle the backlog. Last week, the government also confirmed it would cut the number of times opponents to an infrastructure project can apply for judicial review, after concerns that objections from nearby residents risk delaying new proposals. But Kate Moffrey, principal at consultant at Cornwall Insight, said that even with such measures, it's fair to say that we are not there yet. The messaging has been strong. There were some very defiant decisions during the first month in office, she added, but that isn't the same as getting wholesale planning reforms agreed. And given the continuous of wholesale planning reform, there is a degree of caution around how rapidly that will ultimately be delivered. Developers are also cautioned about investing while waiting for the government to decide on whether to push ahead with major potential changes to the electricity market, such as splitting into different pricing zones, Mulveen had added. To make its forecast, Cornwall takes into account a range of factors, including market sentiment and project announcement, in a similar forecast this time last year, and it predicted Britain would have 17 gigawatts of onshore wind, 31 of offshore wind, and 21 of solar by 2030. Last year's figures for offshore wind and solar were lower than its new predictions, suggesting that government policies will have made some difference. I think it's also very clear, I want to make this very clear, I've said this actually in other videos with regards to climate as well. Although the Conservatives have not pushed anywhere near these levels, they have done some progress on this. They have done some progress on this. Have they done they haven't done nowhere near enough the amount we wanted us to do. But credit where credit is due to the Conservatives. They have contributed some of this. You can't not take that away from the Conservatives. Like, if this had not changed for 14 years, like if there weren't actually these onshore, offshore, and solar farms being built, then yeah, you could tear the Conservatives' head off. But a lot of that has been down to the Conservatives, even though it's not been as fast and as much as we wanted it to be. However, Cornwall cautioned that the forecasts were not directly comparable because of changes to the way it carried out its modelling. The Department of Energy, Security and Net Zero said it did not recognise the forecast, pointing to NESO analysis that showed clean power by 2030 is achievable. We are cleaning up a dysfunctional grid system to connect the most important projects, speeding up the decision on planning permissions and expanding the renewable auditions process to stop delays, unlocking growth. So they're saying that they're still saying it's achievable, but for me, even if it's not achievable, as long as we are continuing to go in the right direction, I mean, it's still 5 years away. A lot can happen within 5 years, guys. And I know some people may not like what I'm about to say, but the inheritance tax issue, obviously, that may lead some farmers to sell up their lands, and that could open the door for some solar farms as well. I know many farmers listening to that will not like that comment, but I think Labour will push this a lot more. I do think Labour will push on these projects a lot more than the Conservatives. Whether or not they hit this 2030 target, I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's still they may do, they may not. But as long as we continue to look at projects for me, I'm more in favour of offshore wind farms than onshore. I really am. I'm actually more against onshore wind farms than offshore ones, because I feel like land like that can be used for something else. I really don't think we should be giving up land for onshore wind farms, me personally. Considering that we are an island, I just don't understand why we just don't use. There's so much space out in the ocean. I just think it's better for us to do it out in the sea. I know there's some parts that people aren't happy about, but I just think it makes logical sense to do it out there rather than in land. But that's just me being nitpicky, to be fair. Well, the Tories did nothing. I mean, they followed the book but did not insist with it. Hence, they virtually stopped it. It's based on flexible sensibility organs that adapted to create a picture of the world that our monkey brains can understand. Is that on what I'm just talking about, Joe? Just a bit confused. Are you talking about something else there? There's also the Denmark UK interconnector since number 3. Are you guys talking about something else here? Well, I've seen a massive UFO or portal things, perhaps. That was definitely weird since number 3. No, that's normal. That's definitely normal for you. I've had COVID, by the way, says Jow. I've had COVID too, although I never, because I've had the symptoms of it in the past. So I'm sure everyone's had something like that, to be fair. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I thought you were talking about something else there. So I've got one last story to talk to you guys about before we go to a funny video. A very serious conversation we need to have a talk about here in terms of crime. Not something I really dive into, but I think it's one we should try and have a discussion about. So teenagers get away with knife crime amid stop and search fears. So falls and arrests in London is linked to police officers lacking the confidence to use the powers and fearing complaints, the Met's knife crime lead has said. Now, one of the biggest problems that we have in the UK has been teenagers getting their hands on knives. And my question is, how do we stop this? How do we stop knife crime? How do we stop kids, how do we stop young people getting their hands on these dangerous weapons? Because their general consensus and belief is that they need them to protect themselves. They carry these with the intention of they want to to protect themselves from others. People, and it's not just about the weapons. There's a psychology issue. There's a mental issue behind this. When people are living in an environment where they do not trust the police, that they do not trust society, that they feel that they have not been cared about, looked after whatsoever, they will turn to a life of crime. They will turn to a life of gangs. And when they cannot trust the police, they will turn to these weapons to look after them, because they do not trust. They do not trust anyone and anyone to look after, to protect them. The idea is that you should not have to carry a knife on you or have these swords on you. Looking at, there's one person in particular I know who has a sword with them. It's really scary. I mean, the amount of knife crimes that take place. I mean, I know it's really bad in London. It says their falls in arrest in London is linked to police officers lacking the confidence to use their powers. And as Benjamin says, you can't stop people getting knives, even if you ban sports knives. You can't ban kitchen knives. It's all about policing, economic changes, etc., not just the ban. Yeah, this is where I was coming across there's a psychological issue here. We need to give people, these teenagers, these youngsters, these people who are going down this, the areas and communities where they are coming from. We need to look at these communities, these areas of society where these people are coming from, because it all comes from somewhere. And we need to look at why this is happening, why people are turning to crime, why people are turning to gangs, why they're going down, what can be done to stop it. It's not just about dealing with the cost of living crisis. It's about targeting and looking specifically at these issues and how we can help these people. We have to give these people an opportunity to be somebody, to make something of themselves, rather than turning down this path. Because many of these kids and that will probably feel that they have nothing, that they don't have any futures to them, and that they are trying to protect themselves and look after themselves. We need to change the mentality, but we also need to help these people, help them and understand and try and understand why they end up turning to knives. Like this whole premise of cracking down on knives sort of thing, or going after people with them and stop and search and all this kind of stuff. Like you're deterring some of it, but you're not fixing the issue. You're not fixing the core of this problem. We need to fix the core of this problem. We need to understand why people are going down this route. If we don't fix the core of this issue is not going to go away. I don't accept the premise that you can't stop people carrying knives. You need to make people, because if I'm honest, do we see people? Is knife crime a major issue in every single country? Is it an issue in Denmark? Is it a major issue in France? Is it an issue in Portugal? Is it an issue in many EU democratic countries? Answer me that. Is knife crime a major issue, or is it just the UK? I wouldn't compare it to the US because their situation was related to guns more than knives. And I think that's a question worth asking. Criminalising kids isn't going to help. Yeah, we need to help these children. It's about breaking the cycle, because they're in a cycle right now. They're in a cycle that they cannot get out of. And we have to help them get out of that cycle. And what's one of the biggest frustrations is that there are organisations and charities out there trying to help kids, get them off the streets from doing this kind of stuff. But there's not enough government intervention, or little to no government intervention on this issue. And that's where the problem lies, I feel. Knife crime often occurs in the most deprived areas. And we have a lot of deprived areas in London, Steve. Teenagers are getting away with knife crime in London because fewer police officers feel confident using stop and search in case a complaint derails their career. The number of under 18s arrested for knife offences fell from 884 to 595, a decrease of 33% between 2018 and 2023. Metropolitan police officers have detained young people for offences including possession of an article with a blade or a point on school premises. threatening a person with a blade or sharply pointed article on further education premises, their possession of a flick knife or gravity knife. Of the 4,265 suspects aged 13 to 17, figures show 1,033 were charged and remedied in custody ahead of a court appearance, and 965 were charged and bailed to attend court. Meanwhile, 1,304 under 18s face no further action, according to data released to the Times under Freedom of Information law. Stop and search is often described as a vital tool for seizing weapons, keeping the public safe, but Met officers are using the TAC less often. Commander Hayley Stewart, who leads on tackling knife crime in the Met, says it remains a top priority because of the devastation it causes families and communities. Yeah, exactly. Falls in the number of arrests for knife crime are linked to fewer officers feeling confident about using stop and search tactics as they fear complaints. Yet we know that stop and search can prevent crimes from happening, she says. We recognise that we have more work to do to empower officers to use this tactic boldly and efficiently, working with the support to communities who feel the impact of knife crime so deeply. This month, the Times analysis of crime and sentencing data exposed the scale of the fatal stabbings and knife possession offences in England and Wales between 2013 and 2023. Since 2017, white people in their 30s have made up the majority of offenders. Sentenced for having an article of a blade or a point in a public place across both nations. This age group accounts for 1,914 people sentenced in 2023, almost 1 in 4 of all offenders. However, the picture in London could not be more different, as people aged 18 to 20, representing the bulk of offences sentenced for knife possession in 2023, the majority of whom were black. Although the homicide rate in London remains flat, gang violence and knife point robberies of Apple and Samsung phones have led to a rise in knife crime in the capital. Officers are struggling to seize more weapons. Officers conducted 118,688 stops in the year to January the 4th, 2025. About 34,000 fewer than any previous year. Almost 40% of these searches were of black people and the majority were 18 to 24 according to Met figures. So Mark Rowley, the Met's commissioner, said this month most officers go out every day to do their jobs with good intent. But the way the police complaints and accountability system works, good officers think, my career could be suspended for a couple of years if a complaint comes in. They're becoming more cautious in using their powers. Scotland Yard committed to creating a stop and search charter as part of a turnover plan after waves of scandal eroded the public trust in the force. The Times understands the launch date is imminent. The office of Sir Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, says stop and search was a vital policing tool. They fully support the Met around the use of technology-led stop and search that is carried out fairly and with respect. Spokesman added nothing's more important to the Mayor than keeping Londoners safe, and he's determined to do all he can to tackle violence and its complex causes. No mention in this article about the root causes here. No mention about why people carry it. This is a problem. Mainstream media are not talking about the core elements of this issue here. That's one of the biggest frustrations here. Thanks for popping in, number 3. Reminder, do check out his YouTube channel. If we want to have a serious conversation about knife crime, if we really want to stop people getting stabbed, I know you cannot stop people carrying knives altogether. I understand that. But if we are serious, like I've said about immigration, if you want to reduce migration, you need to fix the homes and the places that they come from. If you want to stop knife crime, you need to look at the root causes of knife crime. If it's from poorest and the most deprived communities, why is that? Why are they turning to knife crime? We need to have serious conversations about them. It's not just about, these kids are nothing but trouble. No, you're missing the bigger point here. The point is why. We don't look at the why, and all we do is punish. It's the same thing with benefits. Yeah, they punish people on benefits, but they don't ask why. Why are people on benefits? They never ask the question why. This is one of the biggest problems that I have with a lot of governments when they have these issues. They don't ask enough questions of why. Rosemary, you've come just near the end of the show. Good to see you either way. Let's just have a quick read of the chat, see what you guys are saying. I used to carry a screwdriver as a teenager. What are you going to do? I had a bike. Can't ban that. Opportunities in general crime reduction, not banning anything pointy, says Benjamin. You carried a screwdriver because it makes you feel safe. You didn't want to carry that screwdriver, but you felt you needed to carry it to protect yourself. Is that the real reason, Benjamin? Like, I'm not saying it was like, you know, you shouldn't have carried it, but you carried it because it made you feel safe, more protected by carrying it. Because you know, if I'm just trying to understand why. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I also like bows to make them different techniques, and I do not even hunt. This is subjective. They need to take care of this cause. The causes are not the effects, says Jao. I collect knives because I like the craftsmanship and to draw them. Same with swords and axes. Aesthetics for art and me, says Jao. I carry a knife because it's a tool in a kitchen utensil, nothing more. I can't stand knives. Me personally. Excuse me, that's just me personally. Stephen Moore and Benjamin said the issue is not the knives, but people using them. Knife crime occurs in the most deprived areas. I said that earlier, sorry. In Glasgow, the police treat knife crime as a social problem that has major major positives, says Rosemary. It's a social problem. That's the word. Thank you, Rosemary. That was the word. Social problem. Absolutely right. It's a social problem. But we're not treating it as a social problem. It's like, why are so many people in prison? Like, are we not? Why are we not? Why are people getting free from prison and they're going straight back in? We're not looking at the problems. We're not looking at the core issues. It should be classed as a social problem. We don't treat the crux of these issues, which is very frustrating. But I think it was a good conversation to end on, guys, to talk about it, because it's not something we've talked about for a while on this channel, knife crime. But before you guys run away, I do have one more video for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show we've had discussing these very important issues. But I hope you enjoy this classic video I've got for you guys. This is from a couple of years ago, 2 years ago to be roughly, from the late great Janie Goodley. May her forever rest in peace. Here, and this was around the time that the when the Trump team got kicked out. So the title of this is Donnie Jr. Wants a Wee Dog. Hope you enjoy this classic.
I've had enough of everything. Honest to God, I'm up to high dough with the whole lot of it. It's been on my mind and I have to get it out. I've no slept. I've no slept a fucking wink since last Tuesday. And this has been me. It's my dad, and then it was Ivanka, and then it was the whole insurrection thing, and people don't listen to me. All I ever wanted was a wee dog. Just a wee dog to play with, take out, call it Bobo, something, a good name. Maybe take it to the fucking park, maybe take it for a picnic, just go out with my pals, but no, I wasn't allowed a dog. I had to, you have to prove yourself, you have to prove you're good at looking after a dog, so I had to go and take a job and work for my dad. And I didn't want to work for my dad. I wanted to go and join the circus and do like dog tricks. and play like, like get a wee dog to jump through a hoop or jump through a hoop of fire, or even like a wee dancing dog would be good. But no, I wasn't allowed any of that. I had to go work for my dad. I knew I'm fucking right
up. Janie Goody, forever rest in peace. May she forever rest in peace, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Link for that is in the description. There. Donnie Jr. wanting a wee dog. He wanted a wee dog. Not a wee Scott dog. A wee dog, guys. A wee dog there. Indeed. Just before I come to the chat. Blaze, what did you make of the show? Blaze really enjoyed it. He said, where's my emoji? I told you, Blaze, it's coming soon. Blaze, newest member of the gang here, has joined the crew here. For those who don't know the rest of the gang, Ollie the Octopus on top of the orb, which has been empowered. It's on. been a while since the orb has been turned on. I don't know if we've made a change. Pingu, they've been pushed aside, which he's not happy about. And Cash Dummy the Cookie Monster there, and behind them is the all-powerful lava lamp, guys. So we will have Blaze. Blaze will have an emoji at some point. It is one of my projects of things to do there. Pika, who's Pika? There's no Pika here. No, that's Blaze. Jow, that's Blaze. So guys, I'm going. Thank you guys so much for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you, number 3. I know he's gone now, but thank you for the gifted memberships. And those who renewed their memberships today, thank you so much as well. I really appreciate your support, guys. So just a quick reminder, I will be back tomorrow with the Snowflakes Corner at 6 p.m. Do join me for that. We will cover news from outside the UK, if you can join me for that. And then on Wednesday, we will have Prime Minister's questions at 12 p.m. And also at 8 p.m, we will have the Snowflake Watch. We'll be watching and reacting to certain clips online. There'll be, at the moment, I do not have any live stream planned for Thursday and Friday. I may change my mind on that. I may do one on Thursday. May do. Depends how I feel. But we'll see how things go. But thank you guys all for coming along. I will be hanging out a little bit on the Discord after chat. If anyone wants to come on and chat for a little bit, you're more than welcome to do so as well. But thank you guys as always for your support. It's greatly appreciated, guys. But just before I head out, I just want to say, where was that comment? There was a very important comment from Jao saying, to me, it's firearms that disgust me. Many wars and stories in my house. My dad was in the war. He never had a gun in the house, nor did touch one again. He was a special ops. Yeah, I totally understand. Totally understand that, Jao. Yeah. Dad never spoke of the war, but his brother did, and it was also special ops commando, says Jao. All my uncles were in the colonial war. I have 2 cousins in the army, and my brother was in the army for a while too, says Jao. Thanks for that, for sharing that. Appreciate it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got to try and have a bit of fun in all this messed up world, guys. You know, that's why I have funny videos, because we need some uplift in all this. You know. But have a great week, whatever you guys' plans are. Do take care of yourselves, you know, and if you can come and hang out on other YouTube chats and whatnot, please do so. If you want to come and hang out on Discord for a little bit with me, you're more than welcome to as well. Before I go, just have one last thing to say. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, be greatly appreciated. And share this across social media so others are notified of this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further and financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.